So we're going to the metaverse. We're talking about Animoca brands now. So they've invested in more than 100 startups, including OpenSea and Axie Infinity, and they are now contributing to the development of the metaverse. The executive chairman, Yat Siu, was recently interviewed by Decrypt, and he described Facebook and Tencent as threats to an open metaverse. And I don't think that's a surprise to any of us here on the show, but Facebook recently announced that they are hiring 10,000 people to start building Facebook's metaverse. And Tencent has been trademarking, I don't know the exact phrase. I don't know if they've trademarked metaverse, but they've been trademarking phrases around the metaverse. And I wanted to open it up to the panel and ask you guys if you think that Web 2 players, the players who have created these walled gardens online, have a place in Web 3.
Man,
I don't know.
It's a deep question. Philosophical for a Friday.
It's a deep question for a Friday.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say,
take it. That's an interesting question. Naomi, you got it.
Yeah, if we're talking about trademarks, I don't think that they do at all. They can get their trademarks and they can, I won't swear, but they can go elsewhere. And, I think that if they're going to be, taking this stuff and using it as just kind of getting defensive patents and all of this stuff and trademarks so that, anyone can use this stuff, especially when you're dealing with terms like the metaverse that was actually, as I said, invented by Neil Stephenson. You don't see him going and suing everyone for using this concept that he coined. But I think that on the other side of things, these big tech companies really are at the cutting edge of innovation. I mentioned on the show the other day, Facebook in particular, so much of the technology that's used in Silicon Valley is actually developed by Facebook. We don't realize that. They have huge open source teams that work on these projects, and then they put a lot of resources towards developing it. People use these tools because they're really good. So I'm not going to completely discount their contribution. I think that they probably have a lot to contribute. I would, however, be worried about them co-opting certain projects or steering them in directions that will solely benefit their organizations. We saw the outcry when Apple changed its business model or added those tracking features, and Facebook was like, no, we must steer everyone's iPhone experiences towards what benefits our business model of tracking people. I'm not too confident about that side of things, but I definitely think that there are very smart people working at these organizations who have a lot to contribute. So I'll be interested to see in what capacity that plays out. But Zach, I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, it makes sense that that Animoca is sort of carrying the torch on this one, right? We reported this week that they raised $65 million at a $2.2 billion valuation. They've backed a ton of NFT projects, a ton of metaverse projects, and they are very much invested in making sure that the open metaverse attracts users and potentially a return on their investment. So for this to be, the siren call of the Animoca team totally makes sense, and it'll be interesting to see if they become one of the key backers of this open metaverse, as opposed to these more closed systems that Facebook and others could roll out in the future. Naomi, I think I saw your hand up, and I'll toss it down to you.
Yeah, just a question. Isn't Tencent a Chinese company? And hasn't China banned all involvement in cryptocurrency? So how does it play out if you're getting involved with a metaverse, which is really based on blockchain technology and has crypto kind of inbuilt as part of its, the way it functions, the fuel of the economy? How can they get involved with this? I'm not sure if anyone has answers to that, but Will, I'll throw to you.
Yeah, is the Great Firewall a physical place in the metaverse? There's a lot of questions there.
It's just a wall.
I don't think necessarily the metaverse has to equal
China metaverse.
Right? There can be there are some definitions of metaverse that are inclusive of wasn't that thing Neopets or something? There was something that we did recently that was a big early aughts thing, or what's a great metaverse is Second Life, right? That's a metaverse,
okay,
but that it wasn't related to the blockchain, right? So there are ways to have open metaverse versus more closed metaverse, and I think we're going to see sort of players emerge on both those sides. Facebook, I think, being chief among them on the more closed side, and people building more open metaverses Decentraland or Crypto Voxels or whatever, sort of being the more open one, where Jen can roam around and hopefully win a little bit of money at the tables. Woo! That's all I want. Did you win any money at the tables last night, or did you come out?
Not. Just It just came out in the red, but it was my first time. So I'm going to go back in with more confidence and just throw it all down on black. It was red last night. I'll go black next time.
Redo your avatar and whatnot. I mean, it's interesting because China is also cracking down. China's also cracking down on banning on gaming as well. Like they've banned minors from gaming during weekdays. Like, are there going to be all sorts of like ID checkers at the entrance of these metaverses? Like that'd be the most unpleasant thing. Like you go to the metaverse to get away from that kind of rubbish, and then suddenly you're going to be like ID checked in the metaverse. Like that seems very complicated. But yeah, good luck.
Metaverse
good luck,
police
Tencent.
To be there.
Digital pat dance in the other area of the metaverse. That's definitely not for the under 18s.